Okay, this is part 2 of Finland is the American Dream. The story I told before, I realized I left out quite a lot of details. So what was so great about Finland? I visited with my friend for the first time, and we both agreed to go on this trip together. Both of us had been to Germany once before, and I really liked Germany a lot, and that's what kind of like it kind of opened my eyes to like this world outside of America. And we had friends. We both were friends with all these guys who lived with me in the States, and we decided, like, let's go visit them. It was summer, and we just decided to like take a summer holiday and go see Finland and go see our friends there. And we did. And the thing that I was so blown away about Helsinki was that just even the place was, it was so... It's really hard to describe, but Helsinki is this personal city. That's the only way I can kind of describe it. It's like this city it's a big city, but it's so personal. It's a walking city. So, people drive there, but they walk. You walk to shop, you walk to see things, and it's made for like walking. And you might meet somebody like accidentally downtown. And I don't know many cities in America where that happens. And it has all these elements. It has these wonderful old buildings. It has the sea. It's just, there were so many beautiful things about Helsinki as a place. And then getting to know the people. The people are so different, and the culture is so different than American culture. And one of the things is that, Finns often think that they're introverts and that they're quiet, and people often see them as rude, but I didn't see it that way. I saw Finns as being very honest, which was very refreshing, like compared to what I was used to, because I've been used to Americans who are also very polite and very outgoing, but also that when you say, like, yeah, I'll call you next week and let's get together, and then that week comes and that day comes, and then it just doesn't happen. And kind of in Finland it was like, people, if they said they were going to call you next week and we're going to get together and go have coffee, they called you. And that was like, really like mind-blowing to me, which shouldn't have been. It should be that way, it should just work that way. But American culture is a lot more loose with that, and a lot more like Americans tend to want to make you feel nice in the moment and in the conversation that you're having right now. And they may not, and myself included, I did this as well. I may not, intend on actually calling you next week to meet. And so that was something that was really like refreshing and surprising to me, that these people, if they say they're going to call you and they want to hang out, then they're going to do it. And on the flip side of that, if they don't want to, they're not going to say it. And so if they say, oh, yeah, okay, it was nice meeting you, goodbye, that means our journey here is over. And that also is pretty refreshing, because there's nobody's leading you on. There's no kind of this false sense of hope for any interaction in the future. And I like that. I like that a lot. I like that the Finns say what they mean. And I don't necessarily think that Finns are introverts. I think that Finns are very careful with what they allow themselves to let out. Like, for instance, you will probably never have a conversation with anyone in Finland in an elevator. That's just how they are, and that's also refreshing. I think it's nice that there isn't like a pressure to say something. You get into an elevator with another person, and in America, it's kind of like you're expected to do some small talk, and you better have something witty to say, otherwise you're a jerk. Maybe not to that extent, but in Finland I felt like you go into an elevator with another Finn, and it's okay to just be quiet, and you don't know them, they don't know you, and like, why do we even, we don't need to. There's no pressure here to connect. And in a way, I think that's really nice. I do like the American side of being polite and opening doors for people, saying hi to people you don't know. That almost never happens also, like in Finland, especially in the big cities. But I don't necessarily think that makes Finns introvert. I think it just means that they're very careful. They don't promise too much, which is with due cause. But then the flip side of that is that, when you get to know a Finn, it's very genuine, it's very strong, and it's very close, I think. Like for instance, if you go to sauna with a Finn, I like to say you're in like a Finn, because you are. It's like that's where the secrets come out. That's where it's like now you are together in this place where it's closed off. It's this safe place where you can talk. There's nothing else to do but talk. Usually you're naked, and there's nothing to hide. There's nothing you can hide, and it's this kind of vulnerable place where you are kind of vulnerable to each other, to like socially in this social situation. And that's the place that if you get into a sauna with a Finn, I think that they're much more likely to call you a friend after that, and vice versa. And I love that culture. I think that's really amazing. It's kind of like, okay, now we're on the surface, we're talking about all kinds of things that maybe matter, maybe not, but then we go to sauna and it's like, here's how it really is. Here's what's really happening in my life. Here's the hard things. Here's the really great things. And somehow I really identify with that, and I like that a lot. Leaving America was easy in the moment because there wasn't a lot of things going for me, but I realized like really soon after I left that I will really miss the people that I left behind. I miss my family like crazy, my parents and my sisters and my aunts and uncles and cousins and my grandmothers, and just people have been the hardest part to leave behind. What I also left behind was terrible eating habits. I remember when I left, kind of my diet consisted of fast food, at least 2 or 3 cans of Mountain Dew per day, and that was about it. And I thought cooking was, boiling rice and adding lemon pepper. That was cooking for me. That's just how I kind of lived as a single guy. And then moving to Finland, it was like, I moved in with my friend Make and his wife Heidi, and they ate at home a lot and they cooked a lot, and a snack was more like rye bread with butter and cheese. And it was just like, when I got here, I think I lost about maybe 30 pounds in the first few months that I was here, just from the diet change, and just eating completely differently than I was used to. And then I just found that I just had all this energy, all this pent-up energy inside of me because my diet changed, and I just felt like somehow just new again. I was lighter, and I really hated running, but that's all I knew to do to burn all this extra energy I just had, and I couldn't sleep at night unless I went for a run. And you know, I didn't even have running shoes. I had like some basic like Abercrombie and Fitch kind of sporty shoes, and that was like it was the worst thing ever running with them. But I would run like, you know, 10K in those because I just needed to like burn this energy. But what I got when I moved to Finland was new friends. I was really just overwhelmed with how many people offered their friendship to me and were just really nice to me, and kind of very just genuine people. The first week I was in Finland, I moved in with Make and Heidi, and they had been invited to a wedding, and the wedding couple had heard that I'm coming to live with them, and so they invited me too. And I'd never met them before. I didn't even know their names, actually. And so I was like, well, okay, I guess I'll, you know, I can go. They invited me, I'm gonna go, you know, and it'd be nice to see a Finnish wedding, you know, as kind of my first week in Finland. And so I went to this wedding, and everybody had these name cards on the table, and for their places. Where they should sit, and my name card said they didn't know my last name. They knew my first name was Luke, and so my name card said Luke from America, and it was great. I just somehow I think I still have it actually. I need to dig it out of my storage, but I kept it because it just meant so much to me that they invited me and they didn't even know me, and you know, that couple. Their names are Mirka and Manko, and they were still friends today. And actually, I'm running my first trail marathon with Manko in October. So our kids play together, and I mean, it's something that was just so simple that they just invited a stranger to their wedding, and now we're great friends. And yeah, that was amazing. But as fate would have it, the person sitting across from me in the wedding was this really good-looking girl, and she's now my wife. And there was a longer chain of events that led to that, but that wasn't the first time we met. We met on the previous visits, but and I kind of think that they might have, you know, did some scheming to kind of put that in place. But anyway, yeah, but moving to Finland, I kind of like went through this gradual shift mentally, and it's hard to really say what was changing from America to Finland that changed me as a person, and what was just like, you know, regular growing up and you know, maturing as a natural human being does. And you know, I kind of like, I look back on how I was then, and I remember I lived in the tallest apartment building in Richmond, Virginia, and I lived on the 17th floor, and then I moved up to the 19th floor. And I remember thinking that, you know, you know, my apartment was full of computers. I was a big computer nerd and had like all this, you know, like screens just glowing like 24/7 in the room, and like the hum of all these computers. And like, I just remember thinking, like, if I could just have it so that I'm just here with all these screens, you know, and like I never have to leave this apartment ever again. I could just do everything from here and live in this kind of virtual world. And that, you know, I was basically a phone zombie before there were smartphones. You know, I was just scrolling the internet for no reason, but just because it was there, and because I just loved being around, you know, technology and these humming devices. And you know, the change that when I moved to Finland and like kind of gradually kind of moved away from that and understood like the value of just being in quiet nature and being close to the trees and the lakes and the the birds, and just starting to appreciate like outside, and kind of accepting this kind of more Finnish way of thinking, and like this more kind of I was so lost. But maybe one of the biggest things that I really feel was like the kind of why I say that the American dream was in Finland is because kind of the American dream for me, or what it used to be, or what it used to represent when I left, and I haven't lived in America for 15 years, so a lot has changed, but it kind of felt to me that like it was a race. Everybody was in a race to earn the most money. Every opportunity to get more money was where you should go, and that was the decision you should make, was to follow the money, whether it's a higher salary, whether it's and even so, taking debt and maxing out credit cards even to appear that you have more money than you do, and kind of, if you're not doing all you can do to be wealthy, then it was like you're not chasing the American dream. And maybe that's not true, and maybe that's just what I saw, but that's how I felt, and that's how I felt that I should also behave. I felt this pressure that I need to also be chasing riches and wealth, and we're all going to be rich one day. And the kind of moving to Finland and having nothing. And just to clarify, I had nothing because even though I sold all the stuff that I had to pay off loans and credit cards, and then I was at zero. And learning to live on nothing really taught me kind of about the society of Finland and the middle class, and paying higher taxes so that everybody can enjoy like a good life, and very few people are in poverty, and that was something that just blew my mind, that we can all be happy. We don't all have to be rich to be happy, but we can all be happily middle class, and that's okay. In America, we didn't want higher taxes because we didn't want anybody to impose on our right to get wealthy. We want to be responsible for our own wealth, rather than kind of like sharing that equally across the board. And also that like my hard work, I don't want my hard work to feed somebody else. I don't want my hard work to go to somebody who's lazy. And I get that, but kind of shifting over to this society where people are more equal, where there's a safety net for people who fall, for people who have bad luck, and also there are people who are lazy and reap the benefits of the social system. I mean, this is how it goes. It's in every society, but those are just things that I really appreciated a lot about the Finnish society, and as opposed to the American. And there are a lot of great things about America, and there's a lot of great things there's a lot of great things that I left behind, but I feel that this just fit more me and where I wanted to be, what kind of society I wanted to live in, what kind of a culture I wanted to live in and be a part of, and I'm just really happy that Finland has accepted me as it has. And I look back on my decision to move to Finland 15 years ago. This month it will be 15 years, on May 23rd. And I look back on my decision to move to Finland, and I still, beyond a shadow of a doubt, believe that it was the best decision of my life.